Probably the biggest differentiator for effective management in content moderation are the sector-specific knowledge and expertise of the team, and the ability to create a safe environment for the end user, but also for the content moderators. This is a key characteristic in choosing a supplier of social experience management services, and it often translates to domain and industry experience, the product and service knowledge of the language specific to the sector. Think of gaming, for example, right? Or pretty much every other sector, combined with the abilities to provide guidance via those playbooks and processes that you were describing. I think a good example is moderation in healthcare, life sciences, pharma as well, where the skilled healthcare experts and licensed professionals must deliver community management and moderation of user-generated content. And we had a very interesting quote directly from a healthcare executive who said directly, developing a social media policy and enforcing it is really challenging.
Yeah, I would say that this is one of the largest and fastest growing areas of social experience management. And we've seen that over the last several years. You know, it used to be that it was just these large digital companies who had this excessive amount, the Facebooks and the Metas and the, for their online marketplace, and the Amazons for their online marketplace, who had this need for lots of manual and AI review of user-generated content and uploaded content, right? Whether that's someone who's selling something on an online marketplace that's prohibited, right? So maybe they're selling drugs, or they're selling firearms, things that should not be on those sites. And we have these, all of these brands put up their own community guidelines, but that doesn't mean that the hundreds of thousands or hundreds of millions of people who are on those sites are following those guidelines, right? So there comes this need for trained outsourced teams in large quantities to look at these, like I said, millions of pieces of uploaded content, sometimes every minute or hour across some of these platforms. And while that has always traditionally been the area of focus because it was the biggest area of need, what we've seen now is that a lot of other brands are starting to launch their own online communities. Sometimes they've had them, but they've really refocused on those areas, and now the communities are growing. And as you said, areas like healthcare are a huge area of opportunity. We do online content moderation and community management for a number of brands, but when you get into areas that are heavily relegated, and also areas that have an emotional connection, right? You're not just buying a product, right? So from a healthcare perspective, it is an extension of your health and well-being, and what we've seen a lot on the community management side and content moderation side is not just the need of the individual member or policyholder, it's the need of their family members as well, right? When you talk about Medicare, you talk about Medicaid, and people who are online in those communities, it's not always the member. A lot of time the people who are looking for answers on those communities are family members who are trying to make sure they're taking care of their loved ones and understanding the coverage that they have, understanding the benefits they have, so that they can make sure that their loved ones have the best well-being and best service and are fully utilizing everything that's at their disposal. So what we're there to do is to moderate that conversation, right? Look at the content that's being uploaded and make sure it's not always on the brand in this scenario, right? When we talk about social care and we talk about digital reputation management, you always want to respond quickly. But in this area, when we talk about building a playbook, we talk to brands and say, sometimes it's not best for you to respond first. Right? Sometimes you want others in the community to respond, because what you're doing is you're creating a community marketplace and you're really creating community engagement. And then you're building up people who are brand loyalists to be experts for your brand. So really what you're training your community moderators and your content moderators to do is to look and to cultivate correct answers and correct path to resolutions and path to correct information, but you're also looking to help them cultivate the community, right? So sometimes it's not answering a question, it's answering a question with another question that gets the rest of the community involved.